I'm Mikala, and this is my new channel, Lycanhood Reads, and this is my cat, Spencer. There will be cats here from time to time, so if you're into that and that's just another reason for you to tune in and watch my videos, I'm all for that. Not gonna lie. I'll take whatever help I can get, and the cats are more than willing, obviously. This is an introduction video, just a little get to know me to let you know who I am and what kind of things I like to read, and a little bit about what you can expect from this channel. This is a booktube channel. We're going to be talking a lot about what I'm reading, what I want to be reading, how that relates to the wider sort of media landscape of comics, books, TV shows, movies. I'm primarily going to be talking about books on this channel, but I am a huge TV fan, huge movie fan. I like to keep up with all that sort of stuff, and my interests tend to intermingle. So when I read a book that reminds me of a TV show or a movie or something like that, I'll definitely probably mention it in my reviews. But hopefully that's a plus as well. I hope you guys don't mind. I just sort of like to look at the landscape as a whole. So, a little bit about my reading taste. I can tell you I am a huge fantasy fan, or more accurately, I've become a huge fantasy fan here recently. So I haven't read a whole lot of adult fantasy in the past, but this past year, 2020, and a little bit in 2019 as well, I've gotten into more adult fantasy and sci-fi. So that's primarily what I'm going to be reading on this channel, at least for the time being, for the next year or so. There are books that I've read in 2020 that I still want to talk about, and then there are tons of books coming out in 2021 that I want to read and want to talk about and hear your thoughts on as well. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting year. At least 2020 will be over. It's got that going for it, but also an amazing list of books coming out. My favorite book of 2020, just so you can get a little idea of what I'm into right now, is this bad boy right here. You can see it on my shelf there. It's The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I haven't read any book by Shannon before. I know she has another series called The Bone Season that is still ongoing, but it has been ongoing for a while. And it's definitely on my 2021 TBR. But this is my first book by her. It came out at the beginning of the year, I think, or the end of 2019. I have to look up the specific date. But it totally blew my mind. It was the first book I read this year. Also the longest book I read this year, I believe. And it had everything I was looking for at the time, and I'm still looking for it. It was a unconventional, epic fantasy inspired by something other than like the traditional medieval England. It's more Asian inspired. You've got a queer couple at the center. You've got dragons, 2 different kinds of dragons, dragon riders, magic, witches, pirates. It's got everything I could have possibly wanted. I know some people have complaints about it, and I'm not saying it's a flawless book, but it just really hit my sweet spot at the beginning of this year, and it kind of kick-started this fantasy obsession that I have right now. So yeah, I really got nothing but praises for Priory and for Samantha Shannon. So if you haven't read it already, definitely check it out. I'll probably be talking about it a little bit more on my channel. We move forward because it's always at the forefront of my mind right now. Definitely my favorite book of 2020. A little more about the kind of books that I'm into. You can expect me to be reading adult fantasy, YA fantasy, adult sci-fi, YA sci-fi. Though not quite as much YA. I will be reading some YA because it's all a little bit mixed together, and the lines are starting to blur here lately in the industry a little bit. Definitely new adult. That's a new subgenre, I guess you could call it, that I am really into. Always on the lookout for books about protagonists like in their 20s or so, because I'm in my 20s, so naturally. But yeah, so fantasy, sci-fi, YA, adult, all that sort of good stuff. I'm also looking for books with LGBTQ plus themes, characters, stories. So I don't read a whole lot of romance, but I will sometimes venture into like YA romance if it's got a queer character in it. Also, that's one of the things I loved about Priory. is a queer character. I'm definitely looking for queer characters, queer protagonists, queer stories. Also, hoping to give as much attention as I can to queer authors. Other authors that I'm really hoping to dig into this year would be, you know, women authors, which I already read a lot of, authors of color, indigenous authors, which can be a little hard to find. So you have to do some digging sometimes because they're just not getting the attention that they deserve from the publishing industry and when it comes to PR. But if you look, they're out there, and I'm definitely interested in those sort of stories. I want to get more into that. I'm also very interested in unconventional fantasy, sort of like Prior of the Orange Tree, you know, looking for Asian-inspired fantasy, looking for North American, South American-inspired fantasy, something other than that typical, traditional, medieval Europe sort of vibe. So looking for foreign fantasy too. I am here in the US, and sometimes those books just are totally off our radar and hard to find, or hard to hear about anyway. So if you guys know of any good foreign authors or foreign fantasy books, please put them down in the comments. I love recommendations. It's hard to say when I'll get to them exactly, but I would love to know about them. I love putting things on my TBR. Stacking books on my TBR is like one of my favorite things to do. So what can you expect to see on this channel? Well, I don't like to put too much pressure on myself, so I'm just getting started with this channel. I'm really looking forward to doing it and hoping it'll be a nice outlet for me to, you know, talk about my books, review my books, even if it's just for me, even if there's just a few of you guys. I look forward to hearing, you know, your thoughts, or just sort of a good medium to digest my own thoughts and keep track of them. So I'm sort of estimating to put out maybe 2 to 4 videos a month. I wouldn't expect any more than that. You know, unless I get super talkative about something, which has been known to happen, I might, you know, do more. But for the meantime, I don't want to put too much of like a goal on myself to do like once a week or anything like that, because so yeah, about 2 to 4 videos a week. I wouldn't expect more than that. And the kind of videos you'd be looking at is I plan to do book hauls. I don't do a whole lot of book shopping like weekly or anything like that, but I probably will just gather up the books that I buy, like say in a month or so, and do a book haul every once in a while, to let you guys know sort of what's on my TBR, what I'm interested in, where I'm buying my books, and just sort of what kind of books I'm reading, because I'm into audiobooks, I'm obviously into physical books, and I do try to read on my Kindle whenever I can because it is a bit cheaper. So ebooks will definitely be in there as well. You can also expect to see book reviews and discussions, maybe not on every single book that I read, but the ones that I feel strongly about, for sure. I'll get on here and do a little review, let you guys know what they're about, how I felt about them. Most of those reviews will probably be spoiler free, but if I do, you know, throw a spoiler in there, I will definitely mark it in the video, in the title and everything, so you guys know what to look out for. I also want to do a little bit of discussion and comparison. I know it's sort of weird to say discussion when it's just me, but I guess I want to spark some discussion in the comments if I can get some of you guys to talk with me. But so there are some books that I want to compare to one another, make, you know, top 10 lists a little bit, or, you know, worst 10 lists, those sort of things. I do like to do a lot of compare and contrasting, and just sort of let you guys know the sort of vibes that I'm getting from books, and give you a better idea of what they're about, what my thoughts are about them, and what you can expect. As far as TBRs go, I don't want to be too strict with myself and put a lot of pressure. So I probably won't do like weekly, monthly TBRs or anything like that. I probably won't do monthly TBRs. More likely, I'll do seasonal TBRs. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm making it a thing. So I'll probably, like, every few months, maybe every 3-4 months, something like that, I'll make a TBR of what I'm hoping to read that next season, either based on what's coming out or what I have on my TBR shelf. So yeah, seasonal TBRs. So yeah, those lists, those videos, they'll probably have about, you know, 15 books in them or something, or whatever I'm excited about at the time, to just sort of let you guys know where I'm at, what I'm into, and what I'm excited for. I'll probably do monthly wrap-ups towards the end of each month, or maybe at the very beginning of each month. I'll do a wrap-up video letting you know what I read, what I DNF'd, what I didn't get to, and where I'm going in the next month, hopefully. You can expect about 2 to 4 videos a month. I wouldn't be aiming for anything more than that, but I might get super talkative about something, and in that case, there's no telling how many videos there'll be in a month. If you guys are interested in keeping up with me online, I can let you know that I do use Goodreads. I don't use it a whole lot for like social, you know, talking to other people, that sort of side of Goodreads. I don't really care for it that much in that way. But I do use it to keep up with my reading, mostly to keep up with books that I'm interested in the want to read TBR pile. I also use it to keep up with what I have read and when. So I do set up a Goodreads challenge every year. This past year, my goal was 30, and I totally succeeded that. I'm currently sitting at 50 books, but I might finish another one. Probably, I'll finish the one I'm reading now by the end of the year. So I had a goal of about 30. I'm gonna exceed that with 50 or 51, somewhere in there. And I'll be setting up another goal for 2021. I try to push myself every year to read a little bit more than I did the year before. I don't like to put too much pressure on myself, so it's not like a monstrous number or anything, but I usually try to up my Goodreads challenge by like 5 or so, and I might exceed that. So for 2021, I'll probably do a reading challenge goal of 55 or 60 books. I haven't really decided yet, and we'll see how it goes, you know? I don't let the goal define me as much as I can. Reading's supposed to be fun and not a competition, so it's good to push myself, but I don't want to like make it bum me out or anything, and I suggest you do the same. As for what I'm reading right now, I am in the middle of Time of Contempt. That's book 4 or 2 in the Witcher series, depending on how you look at it. The chronological order of that series is up for debate, I guess, a little bit. But I'll get into the reading order of that once I finish the series and do a review video for you. But I am in the middle of that. I'm reading it on audiobook right now, so I don't have a physical copy to show you, but I'll probably put a picture up right here. And then I'm also reading 1,000 Ships by Natalie Hayes. I'm in the middle of this one. It is a Trojan War retelling from the perspective of a lot of the women that were involved in the Trojan War in one way or another. So we're talking about like Odysseus' wife Penelope's in there a little bit. We're talking about Helen herself. Also Briseis, I think I'm saying that right, Briseis, who was a captive of Achilles, and the Queen of Troy, and the priest's daughter. Like, there's so many women involved in the Trojan War. And this is from their perspective. This is their story. It's a beautiful cover, and the writing is also beautiful. I'm really enjoying it so far. But that's by Natalie Hayes. So I've got that and The Witcher. Hopefully I'll finish both of them by the end of the year, but no promises. It'll probably be one or the other. And then we're going to jump into 2021. So, alright, well that's a little get to know me for now. Feel free to ask me questions or let me know what you're reading in the comments. Next, I'm probably going to do a newbie tag video. I hear that's sort of the next obvious step. I wanted to get 1 or 2 videos out before the new year when I can do a most anticipated of 2021 video, because I am really looking forward to 2021, you guys. So many great books coming out, so many queer fantasy books. I'm very, very excited, and I will see you guys soon.